And then I guess we didn't finish discussing. Um,
Do it
do we
live.
want to discuss live? We'll just do it live. It's fine.
Oh, should I retweet?
Do we want to?
Wait, you know what that sounds like, right, Grant?
So I've retweeted. Do I
I think every one of your tweets is a.
Hey,
Never mind.
hey. That's cruel. That's
I didn't say
deeply
anything.
cruel.
I didn't say anything.
That's in poor taste, sir. Now I don't. I mean, not that I ever really understand how Twitter works. Now I'm just even more confused.
Oh yeah, I don't get it. I've just been taking lessons from the Jack Forge guy. Just no filter, throw out whatever stupid idea you have, and you follow that guy?
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's funny.
Yeah. I just wouldn't go like to the level of no filter that Ken Wheeler has. That seems like a dangerous level of no filter.
Oh yeah, I think you need to at least try and be funny.
Yeah. I mean, it can't just all be White Claws and New Jersey references.
Yeah.
From what I understand, White Claws are a canned alcoholic beverage.
I was gonna say, who doesn't love White Claw in Jersey?
I guess
it's a perfect mixture.
Yeah,
GTL,
these are hard things for a sober California boy to wrap his head around.
Like the perfect overlapping circles, not at all connected.
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah. Cool. You know what? Does this? Oh, what is this thing? Jitter delay. Okay. Oh, all right. No
what
problem.
are you doing?
I was just looking at some more technical stuff. You wouldn't get it.
You're okay. Cool. Yeah. You just leave me out of that, man. I don't need to
know. Cool. I think we can get started. Yeah.
Yes.
Fine.
How do I want to start this?
You don't.
Think deep.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to
you freaking butthole. I was just about to get started with it. All right, start the show. Whoa. That's how we're starting it.
Butthole.
Yeah, you're freaking butthole, man.
Oh.
You took my job. That's the one thing I do well on this. I don't even do that well.
One thing I get to do. Oh, he's tearing up. He's tearing up.
Start the show.
Get you a wham burger. Some of those French fries.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the function call, or the thFnCall for the crude in our audience, which I hope you're here. Today, we're going to talk about friendship, probably some stuff about programming. I think maybe some stuff about like getting a job, but who needs that, right? Oh, man. Seems like a very bad idea. But if you're interested, hang out. We'll get around to something that might be useful for you in the near future. But in the meantime, what's been going on with you guys?
Well, one of the reasons why I usually start the show is because I get to introduce y'all. So
on the show today, whatever. Nobody cares who we are.
We got the boy Gigi. What's up, Gigi?
The boy Gigi.
We got my boy Gigi.
Okay, I made a mistake. I responded to that in the first place. I should have just been confused.
Gigi.
My name's Grant.
My boy Gigi.
Am I a Flintstones character? Am I from the town of Bedrock?
Oh shoot! We also got kind of a short show today because we got Adge on the show with us. Adge dropping some knowledge bombs.
Hey Hota.
Hey Hota. Yeah. He's here.
So
gracing us with his presence. So yeah. We are talking about the stuff that Grant was.
The person introducing us is Austin, by the way.
Oh yeah. Austin. There's nothing really cool about my name.
No, I'm not even gonna make an attempt.
Yeah. How's everyone's week so far? It's a Thursday.
I got my second shot of the vaccine.
Woo!
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go and breathe on some people. This is gonna be awesome.
Just that character in Hey Arnold, just start breathing. Everything.
Oh man.
Get that? You get that, sweet listeners? You get that sweet Grant vaccinated breath sounds?
It's a function.
It sounds cleaner.
Yeah. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. I don't know. Might need to take the day off work.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna have any viewers or listeners after this episode, so we can go hog wild and talk about career path trajectories.
Career.
So
that came out. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
But why? Why would anybody care about this?
I think it's the good stuff. So I think this is, we're going to talk about some stuff relevant to like early career devs or people looking for work a little bit, but then also I want to get into some of our experiences with like navigating your career path as you advance through the tech industry. So
wait, the assumption is that like somebody wants to like get a job doing what we do. Like, why anybody would want to do this? It's beyond me.
I love what I do.
And then they want to like progress and like grow. Like this is the premise of our show.
Yeah.
Seems weak, but all right, let's give it a shot.
So, what are the options?
Well, we kind of saved this episode for a time when AJ was definitely going to be on, because I think, AJ, you have a lot of interesting career experience. So I think, I don't know, let's just start where everyone starts, which is like just getting into tech and just kind of glossing over some tips, and then we'll get into more of the when you're in your career stuff.
Sounds good. Who wants to kick us off?
Ooh.
So I think the best way to get into tech is blackmail. I mean, if you get some dirt on somebody who has like a reasonably high up job, not like C-suite folks, right? Like you don't want to do that. But if you get like a mid-level manager, get some dirt on them, just get them to hire you, right?
That's setting the bar way too low. If you got blackmail material, you just go straight to extortion. Like, why even work?
Well, that's the thing, right? It makes it sustainable. Like if you're on the payroll, but you also are in with the right people, nobody questions you.
You know what you should do is extort them, and part of the extortion is also dirt on someone else. So then you have a...
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Recursive blackmail.
Just a little CYA for anyone listening. Please don't take that advice. Do not extort people.
I don't know. I'd love to see how all of that plays out. I would involve.
If you're able to blackmail somebody at a tech company through tech means, then they're probably not
that's like a way in.
Advanced enough to actually teach you anything useful.
That's true. Yeah, you're probably better off on like what is it, red team security stuff.
Yeah, you should try to hack someone, and the ones that fail, that's a winner of a company.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What other terrible career advice do we have?
Yeah, I'll kick this back into real career advice. Like we probably want to talk a little bit about school versus self-taught versus boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts, anyone?
Well, we've talked about this before. Good old episode 1. Great blast from the past. I think it all matters and doesn't matter in very interesting ways, where at the end of the day, you have to have the will and the interest in getting deeper into writing code and making projects, and that has to push you. So it doesn't matter what your background is and where you come from. You just have to have that fire deep inside you to stick through it.
Fire deep inside
you.
Yeah,
you kind of got me there too. Yeah, I'm in the same camp of like, I don't think it I think all of them are a good path. I think that some CS stuff, as you get into to your career, like knowing some of those fundamentals and the data science and algorithm stuff is relevant. But I think some school stuff is also a little bit. It's not the most um, relevant to today's workforce needs. So you may find yourself like coming out with a CS degree and then also having to do more work in order to get into that entry level job. I think self taught has the downside of not really having a curriculum or a path for what you should learn. Although there are great resources like Free Code Camp is awesome. And you also have to like be good at teaching yourself and staying committed to it. And boot camps are great in that they kind of cram everything into a short amount of time and can give you some very practical skills to go and get a job today. But you are going to you're going to like have some gaps in some knowledge because it's just a mile wide and inch deep amount of things to learn. Um, and people learn differently, so what's right for you may not be right for someone else, and also people hire for different reasons.
They
So all
certainly
that to
do.
say that it doesn't matter. Just work hard, and I think what's more important is be present online, like try and get involved in some sort of community. Doesn't have to be online, could be in person, whatever, but online is good too. And then have a strong portfolio. Like just keep on building stuff and putting it out there and have things that you can share.
Yeah, I still think blackmail is the way to go.
Great. Well, three viable options there. Pick your favorite.
Yeah, I think one of the key things, and it's hard during COVID times, but hopefully it's getting easier, is making like in real life connections to people and getting involved in like your local community.
Yeah.
Because really what you learn and the direction that you want to go should be dictated by your local market. Like if you're getting into this like I was as a second career, you want to get a job so you can make money so you can survive. Know your local market, meet some of your local developers. That way you're meeting whatever demand is in your market. There's a lot of remote work available, but that's typically mid-level and up. It's not great to go into, and maybe you guys disagree with me, but it's not great to go into a junior role fully remote. Having in-person interactions with people, at least for me, was incredibly informative through my early first couple of years doing this. Was really, I think, super important. Could that be done online through Zoom calls? Possibly. But I'm like super distractible, and like having people in front of me kind of forces me to pay attention. Like I'm not going to directly disrespect somebody and start looking at Twitter on another screen while I'm in a
Hold on, let me really quick. I'm just gonna pull my phone out in front
Wait,
while
do
we're
you guys think that's
talking.
agreeable?
yeah, right.
I do disagree, and I think that it's more effort on creating that culture of embracing distributed remote work, and a lot of companies have done it really well. But it is a different way of working, and it's good for some people, bad for others.
Yeah. I prefer remote work, but I prefer onboarding in person, like having some aspect of when I'm joining a team in person, getting to meet people.
Yeah,
Again.
we just brought on some juniors in our org, and working with them, they're having a really hard time just deciphering our communication patterns in general, which could improve, to be totally upfront. But I think that extra overhead exists less in person, because of our like natural communication cues. Like if you are physically present in a room with people, you're in a meeting.
You guys
Right.
exclusively communicate through GIFs though, right?
Always, yes.
Or like memes
Gifts
and
and
stuff.
like
Yeah.
highly sarcastic remarks.
Yeah, so it takes a little bit to understand what's going on.
Higher
I
legit
understand.
style.
Even in person, you guys just have like a wallet full of like little communication cards.
I prefer Heaths.
That's a good point, though, Grant, around when you start off at a company, right? How do you communicate with the senior
I
engineers?
just got it. Go ahead.
That took you a minute.
I was like, okay, let's move on.
Right. So I think that's the first big hurdle, right? Like you can learn
Yeah.
skills, you can get the CS degree, you can go to a code camp, you can do self-teaching, but once you're actually surrounded by people that quote unquote know what they're doing and you're facing your imposter syndrome, how do you get into actually launching a career and starting to ramp up?
Yeah.
And I think that communication is the first struggle that a lot of us face.
Yeah, I think being just out there, just being present, being communicating. I don't know. Twitter's a good place to be online for the tech scene and just like go make a name for yourself.
Yeah, I think there are some like really good online communities as well. Like I know Party Corgi Discord is a
Yeah.
place that's like super supportive and like really has and supports like all levels of growth and development through the career path. But
Yeah.
I remember being like a junior, which like honestly was not that long ago, and then just really wanting to know like, all right, how do I get to the mid-level developer? Like, how do I get there? How do I go
Yeah.
from junior? Like, okay, I've learned enough to get hired. I've conned somebody into paying me money to mess with a computer all day. All right, how do I get that like level of respect? How do I get that status as an employee? And how do I get that next level of like financial independence, right?
Yeah, that's a good question and a good segue into
Our sponsor, Rich Wallet.
What?
Never mind. I watch too much Linus Tech Tips.
Okay. No, we don't have any sponsors. So if you want to sponsor us, get in touch. So right, you want to make a transition now that you've kind of got your first entry level job, um, and yeah, you want to transition from like entry level to mid level, right, or senior, or into like senior level, whatever. What are some ways? What are some paths to do that?
And I think that's the right question. What is the path? Right. So there's lots of ways that you can come into engineering and development, and there's lots of opportunities once you gain technical skills of how you can implement them. So, like looking at the three of us, right? We came from very different, not what you would expect backgrounds, and have all ended up becoming developers. So I think once you get those core coding skills, you can start really moving towards like pushing the projects you're working on, and kind of. I completely lost my train.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, I know. So like, you're getting along in your years, and you're progressed, and you're like, are really deep questions for you come at the like later stages of advancement. So like we'll get there. But I know for me, like getting from junior level to mid level was a process of like just constantly making comparisons between the types of contributions that I made and just the other developers that I worked with. Like
Yeah.
how many comments are on my reviews, how many bugs are filed against the code that I write. And that's that. So it's a metric that I use, but it's not necessarily like mid levels don't have bugs filed. It's like they write perfect code. Like that's not what I'm getting at, but it's one of the metrics that I use to try to grow. And also like as you get into, you know, more kind of streamlined individual contributor type of work, you know, you have a little bit more confidence kind of submitting PRs. And there's a day where you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, um, you know, I'm looking at this ticket or looking at this task or whatever, and I have fewer questions. I need less guidance and less bumpers in place. And you know, these are signs of growth, and these are signs that you know you're moving in the right direction. And it's like, you know, so some people kind of talk about what is that? Imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that goes away, but I do think that if you look objectively at the work you do, you can start to see signs of your own growth. And I honestly don't think it takes that long to go from like a real junior who needs lots of guidance and lots of kind of bowling bumpers in place to a mid-level. I think there's not that big of a difference. And it's because very quickly in the right environment with the right guidance, um, you know, you can grow very fast.
Yeah, I think there's no denying that a key thing that plays a role is experience, like time and experience. And you can do things to accelerate your trajectory, such as I think building the same thing many times and not necessarily the exact same thing, but like same patterns. Or like I did agency work and built a lot of websites. I got really good at building a lot of websites because I was building essentially the same thing over and over. And then another thing is you want to build a lot of different things because that exposes you to a lot of different problems. If you only build the same things, you do get really good at that, but you don't get good at handling these other issues that you haven't faced before. So it not only like helps you with these new novel issues, but also just developing patterns around problem solving and critical thinking. And then I'd say something else that can help your trajectory is, Grant, you kind of touched on it, which is um, involves the people that you have around you. So if you are, you know, the old saying, like if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So if you're a junior developer and you have someone in your company that's going to be providing mentorship, that's a good thing. If there isn't someone, you should seek someone out. Talk to your manager, talk to your lead, talk to your other developers or whoever, and express, like flat out reach out to them and say, hey, like, what's it going to take? What is the path for me to go from where I'm at to where I want to get to? And they may have something laid out for you, or if not, um, you can ask them just to get more exposure to the work that they're doing, whether that's you reviewing their PRs, them reviewing your code, getting some pair programming time. Because I think, you know, the fastest I grew was when I was making a lot of mistakes. And having someone that was smarter than me reviewing my mistakes and chiming in on like why this is wrong and speaking from their experience. Oh, this is going to cause a security vulnerability in these circumstances. Oh, this is an accessibility issue because XYZ users, you know, experience it this way, or this there's a more performant way of uh, doing this, you know.
So that's why
So
you don't grow anymore, because you just like you're the smartest guy in the room and nobody has any problems with your code.
definitely
Zero
not.
growth.
But you know, as you advance in your career, that does become a problem. Like I always want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than me, and there's a lot of them. So
Someone posted in the comments that they got a senior position and they still feel like, how did I get here? And that's the right question. That means you're in the right place, right? Because that means you're pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do, but other people believe in you, and hopefully you have a good community around you that's supporting you, and continuing that trajectory.
Every time
yeah,
someone's like, I believe in you, I just think about Peter Pan and clapping to keep the
Tinkerbell.
fairies alive, and it just makes me so happy. They You gotta keep them alive.
Yeah, it's good though. Like that's a really good point. Just doing things, surrounding yourself with people outside of work, but people in your life, habits and activities that are good for your mental health also keeps you sharp, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. This might be a controversial point too. I think doing learning and side projects and stuff outside of work is going to help you get better faster as well.
Strong disagree. Waste of time.
Well, why?
Always get paid. because this is the next question, right? Which is, all right, I'm growing as a developer, but I'm still making that junior money, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like many folks, I got into this career path to save my ass, right? I got into this career path because my previous career was no longer paying the bills, and this seemed like a good way to do that.
It was a really sad situation with the donkey that was sick, and you had to save your ass. It was all right.
Oh,
Sorry, really bad. I mean, it sounded good in my head. There
I
was
get
something there.
just didn't fully translate. That's
I
okay.
really wish that was your origin story. Is like you had a
My
donkey.
origin story was that I was like a guide in the Grand Canyon, and all of
your
my asses
donkey got
died.
sick, and you just had to get a job in tech to save your ass. You know,
Oh my God.
we're gonna reinvent your story, man. That's your new brand.
Yeah, I tried to GoFundMe and it just didn't work. So
Yeah.
like I reverse engineered the code for GoFundMe and just siphoned all of the. Anyway,
I think you're bringing up a good point though. Do you learn on the job or off the job? And I think in the culture of software development right now, it's definitely
Both.
people expect you, to be doing both all the time, and your life should be completely revolved around just coding up the next crazy thing.
I
but
don't
that's the
think that's
thing, right? The culture is two-faced. It creates this standard of, what are your side projects? Like if I look at Twitter on a Saturday, people are like, what are you working on today?
yeah,
I'm
that's the
like,
worst.
I'm hanging out with my
I'm working on
son
this
and riding my
pizza.
bike. Yeah, right. Like,
Sleeping.
so they will talk about these things, and the same accounts will talk every quarter about, I'm so burned out. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just at a loss as to how this happens. Work-life balance is so important. And here's the thing about coming into this from like another career is like, you need to take care of yourself. And I get that you want to progress. Like I'm talking to like new folks or folks that feel pressure to do this all the time. Like if you take care of yourself and you are healthy and you are able to like mentally focus and also break away from that focus, you're going to be more apt to grow. Like you're going to be able to learn faster. You're going to be able to handle problems in a more reasonable way. And you're going to be less likely to like blow up in meetings when people are like doing weird stuff that you're like, what is happening? Right. Like I can tell when I'm starting to get a little bit crispy, I get real short in meetings and it's not good. Like it's a
Grant,
bad look. And I can just mute
I hate to
myself.
tell you this, Grant, but
Hmm.
you're always a little short. Sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Oh God, I hate you so much. It's true though. It's true though. I am height deficient. But that's okay. That's okay. So like I really think that there's this cultural conflict where like that's what's expected, but at the same time, so like I want to put my opinion out there that it is not necessary to do these things to grow in your career. What is necessary is to advocate for yourself heavily.
So I totally agree. I
Okay.
don't think it's necessary. And I constantly remind my team, like, don't message me after hour. Like, if I message you after hours, it's because I'm working a weird hour shift that day.
Mhm.
But if I message you out of hours and you've clocked out for the day, don't message me. I'm just sending you that because that's when my time is like on, right? Uh, I don't expect you to do work on side projects on the weekend. I want you to get off work and go enjoy the weekend and take your time off. Uh, and I think that should be the same for everyone, right? That said, I actually do enjoy doing work on side projects. Like that is something that I consider a leisure activity. And I think the difference is the people that feel obligated or the people that feel that the industry is saying it sets an expectation. Um, then that's kind of the downside. Like that's what leads to burnout. For me, doing a little bit of work on a side project is fun and interesting and energizes me. And I also think that it's not necessary to work or like do side projects and stuff, I do think it will advance you through your career faster. Because at the end of the day, getting good at something comes down to experience, knowledge, and experience. And you can accelerate some of it by having good mentorship and like learning from others. That's kind of like the hack to learning things. But you also can't replace some things with just putting in time.
So just to counter that last point just a little bit,
Yeah,
uh,
tell me.
as we kind of look at candidates to hire where I work, if somebody hasn't used a technology or an approach in production, like in an actual work application, like we don't really consider it. This is something that comes up a lot with TypeScript because the adoption rate is not quite as high as we would like it to be. And so it's really, really difficult to find people with TypeScript experience in production. Like they're typically, just higher level developers than some of the roles that we're looking for. And so it's hard to find those matches. But it is something where, like, if you're experimenting with the technology that you want to work with, and I'm gonna actually I'm gonna derail us into my next point, which is um, sometimes advocating for yourself involves finding another place to work.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Like I've left places that I loved working, uh, but I had to go where the money was, and I also had to go where they were working on technology I wanted to work with. Right?
Yeah.
Like specifically GraphQL is something that like I felt a few years ago was really really important, and so I moved from one company to another because I was going to be able to work more with GraphQL and with some like meta frameworks that I thought were going to be really big, um, and that worked in my favor. That worked really really well for me. But sometimes that's what you have to do. It's like there's a wall that employers will hit where you come in as a junior or in whatever role you have, and you can meet that. You can hit that wall relatively quick, and
Yeah.
no amount of extra pay is going to make that environment progress your career in the direction that you want to go. And so, like, it's important for you to follow what interests you, but it's also important for you to follow and advocate for yourself in what's in your best interest.
Yeah. I
Usually,
agree.
money.
As you get a better understanding of the lay of the land for tech and get an understanding of where you think tech is going, you should seek out opportunities that are going to uh, provide the next stepping stone on the career path that you want, which is doing technology that you want to work with.
And to rewind
So
a second to
yeah,
what we're talking about around like kind of what's your hobby, right? If your hobby is working on technologies and deploying stuff, right, that's going to impact what you focus on versus something else that you might be able to reapply to work. And like again, like you said, if the person doesn't know TypeScript, is that something they're going to learn on the job, right? If they're a smart person and they can handle it and stack up, then why not give them that chance and see where they're going to take that versus saying, "Oh, I need someone with, 10 years of some brand new tech stack like we see in, LinkedIn
yeah,
things."
10 years of React experience,
yeah.
15 years of
So
TypeScript.
Be a good thing.
so now let's like transition to sort of the next phase of someone's career, which is like
Oh, this
you've
is where
got
you
your
have to make decisions.
yeah, you've got your entry
Mm.
work, and then you got pretty good at something, and then now you feel like you're, or maybe you even got into like a senior role or whatever. I feel like the way that the tech industry can kind of, or your career can kind of advance, and I'm sure people have exceptions to this rule, but you kind of go entry, mid, senior, and then kind of at that senior position, you end up at a point where you have to make a decision on a few different routes. Um, which are, I'd say, you can go in towards management role. You can remain as an IC or what's called individual contributor. Um, and you can go into like, I think kind of a newer role is maybe like a developer relations, developer advocacy. Um,
Or
so and
you go.
yeah, what do you guys think about that? Is that right?
This is some advanced career development stuff right here.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different structures, and they've been changing
Mhm.
over time too. Um,
So,
and I
well,
think
this is where I kind of want to get in a little bit more meat on AJ's uh, your experience, because I think that you've kind of gone a different and an interesting path. So maybe you
Mhm.
can speak from your
Yeah,
experience.
gone all over the place. So I think originally, right, it was kind of you join a company as an intern and you keep leveling up until you become a manager and you tell other people how to do things exactly how you would do them, and you just make like a bunch of copies of yourself, and that does not work at all, right? And that kind of changed into multiple career ladders, right? Some people like to be managers and have those people skills. Some people like to just put on their headphones, put on their hoodie, and dive into the code. So you kind of get these branching ladders of one person can focus on what you would call a software architect, and another person would move into an engineering manager position. And then what I think you really see happening now, and all of us are examples of this, of a more career um, monkey bar system. So you can jump from one position, one background, one industry to another, and you can make these crazy lateral jumps. So, like for me, I started off as a designer, and then I moved into web development and web design, and then I moved into full stack development, and now I'm moving into an engineering management position. Um, and it's just that right now, I have these different skills, and that's a really good position for me. But anyone else could have a different set of skills and want to be interested in one of those other positions.
Yeah, I think it's really hard sometimes when people are kind of faced with that decision. Like I've had that conversation with my manager and gotten kind of his perspective on it. And when I when I got hired where I'm working, like the first conversation that I had with our director was like he was asking me like, "Hey, do you want to go in the people management direction?" He's like kind of pressuring me because I guess they need people managers. I'm like, I don't really know. Get back to me on this. Um, because that's just not a decision that I was ready to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting to me. Like, I think some people make that decision, and I think some people fall into that decision.
yeah,
Um, and it really defines a lot of years of the rest of your life. So like, I think it's not something to be taken lightly. But I also think that people management, um, done right, can make a whole team's lives better. Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is also why I wanted to have this show with both of you on, is because I've been there
We love you
recently too,
too.
where it's like, well, it's because yeah, like I had the similar conversation with my boss, my CTO, who was like, so team's gonna be growing and we need to know, are you going to be taking on more people to be managing, or do you want to stick on with like writing code? And at some point, once you Grant, you make a good point of like, you're either going to fall into it, or you're probably going to consciously think about it and make the decision. And I think that you're better off making the decision of whether you want to manage people or remain as an individual contributor, or find some other like path. Would be, the paths outside of that. I think those are the two kind of natural paths that you take as a developer. And um, management is almost the more natural path than remaining an individual contributor, just uh, by virtue of you being, let's say you get to a point where you're the most experienced person on the team. Now people are going to be coming to you asking you questions anyway. And leadership is going to be coming to you asking you like about implementing things. And that kind of turns into managing people, managing tasks and projects and stuff like that.
I disagree.
All right,
And
let's hear it.
maybe we can dive into that
Yeah,
in
yeah.
part 2 around,
All right.
like, what does it mean
Yeah,
to
we're
be
running
senior?
up on time. I would love to do a deeper dive into that, but let's
Yeah,
finish
because
up on these.
yeah, I think we need to answer the question like what is beyond senior, and
Yeah.
sometimes the answer to that is people management. Sometimes the answer to that is architect level roles.
Mhm.
But that also depends on like the type of work you want to do. Like that growth, and here's the thing: like we have a whole lot of need. Like there's still a dearth of like junior level developers. Like we don't have enough. We need more. We definitely need more mid and senior level developers. The question becomes like, where do those go? Like when you have, like 10, 15 years of experience, like where does that go? And I think a lot of people are really comfortable like, I'm just going to stay an individual contributor and work on what I'm comfortable with, and I make enough money and I don't really have to do much else. And I think that seems like a really cool place to be if you're not really looking to kind of climb the ladder. I don't think that's for everybody. Um,
Yeah.
Right.
I
but
jump back and forth. I really like the individual contributor stuff because
mm,
I like to be able to write code. But at the end of the day, I think managers, uh, engineering managers, can unlock more potential impact by you just become a multiplier.
oh
Force
man, you're
Like,
talking like a manager right now.
well, like a good manager is a multiplier. Like they unblock more people, so more work gets done, more higher quality work gets done because instead of them writing their one really good piece of code, they're helping 10 people write good pieces of code.
Selling it. All right. Advanced career development slated.
Yeah, we'll look at that in part two. So let's see. We are running up on time here. AJ's got a hard stop, so I'm going to push us to shoutouts, which is the part of the show where we pick something that we just want to show some love for and drop it a shout out. Could be person, place, thing, activity, whatever. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I work in a really cramped space with my wife, and we had office desk chairs, like with the arms and stuff. They were huge. It was impossible to move anywhere. And we just switched those out for stools. And it's amazing. There's so much space now. They fit completely underneath the desk. It feels like we just opened up twice as much space. It's great. Get a stool if you can. I know some people can't sit in stools, but it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, you and your wife do bunk beds too, right? For the same reason?
Mm,
I thought it
mhm.
was a hammock. I
Yeah, that's
distinctly
right.
remember a
Yeah,
hammock
yeah,
conversation.
Hammock,
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you can put
I
it
want a
away
bunk
during
bed
the day.
so that we could do like the desk underneath the bunk bed kind of thing, like in college. I'm totally there.
There
But
are adult bunk beds.
yeah.
And I don't mean that in like the adult entertainment industry kind of like bunk bed, but
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure those exist too. Wow, that just
There's there's some really cool Murphy beds with desk attachments as well.
oh, that seems cool. Wait, a
Yeah.
Murphy bed,
It's the
That's
one
the
that
bed
hides
that
out
folds
in the
into
wall.
the wall.
it
Yeah.
goes in the wall. Okay,
Mhm.
so kind of like your bed, Austin.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking a trundle bed, the bed that hides under the bed, the Russian doll of beds. Okay, I've entertained myself way too much.
All right, Grant, you got something?
I do. Okay, I got a couple. Okay, first one, since it's related to what we're talking about here, it's a website called levels.fyi, which will basically, if you're just getting into the industry, it will set your expectations way too high. Right off the bat, it will screw up the way you see what your salary is. But it is self-reported salaries from all kinds of companies across tech. I think it's a very good way to figure out how to advocate for yourself. And if you work at a company who has people regularly reporting their salaries and their engineering level, it gives you negotiating power because you know what your what do they call it, penetration is into your range. Anyway, So that's a good tool if you're gonna like mount an attack against people to get like a higher salary. My other shout out is vaccines. Seems like super
Nice.
obvious, but like vaccines are super cool. And everyone should get them just get vaccines. You don't need malaria. Yes. Vaccinated.
Even if you already have like Moderna, just go for J&J and
Yeah.
Pfizer.
Yeah. I'm going to have them just start shooting them in my neck. It's going to be great.
Cool. Yeah. The vaccine rollout is, no, I was going to make a joke and it was just really not tasteful. So I'll tell you guys after.
Okay. I'm really glad you caught yourself.
I can't get caught recording that one. So.
Yeah, we're going to put the brakes on that one.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump into my shout out, which is for a little app called Run.js. Run.js is a little app you can like download and run JavaScript in, which sounds not so necessary since you have a browser and you can run JavaScript there and whatever. But sometimes I like having a little bit more than what the JavaScript browser console has, and a little bit less than like an actual code editor experience where I can kind of make like, I don't know, a little dummy application and run some JavaScript against it and have a little script that does something.
So
So
when you say it's an app, it's like a desktop app, or you can do this on your phone?
Application.
Okay.
Yeah, so you download it and you can run it.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, that wasn't even going to be the pick that I wanted to pick. So I'm going to do two.
What'd you want to pick?
I want to shout out Pocket Casts. Pocket Casts is
not a sponsor.
No, it is it is a phone app that is a podcast player, and I switched from Castbox because Castbox was really like slow to load up and kind of had a lot of ads.
Castbox sucks.
I switched to Pocket Cast. It's great. It has all the features that I really like. You can download to offline stuff. You can play at different speeds. And I mean, it seems basic, but it's got everything that I want. So
Pocket Cast is awesome.
And I think it works.
If you use anything else, you're an idiot.
Well, I heard Overcast is good, but they don't have an Android.
Overcast is super dope. Yeah. My buddy knows the dude who like started working on that. Like, it's good stuff, man.
Beyond Pod.
Good for him.
Beyond Pod?
That's the way to go.
So wait, all these do basically is like read an RSS feed and play an audio file, right?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Well,
wait, how do you mess that up, man?
Yeah, I don't know. The Castbox, like the loading times and the ad experience was just way too much.
Oh, they're trying to get that ad money, huh?
Yeah.
You know what they should do?
What?
Sponsor the show.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. All right. That is it for us. Thanks for everyone that was around to watch the live stream. And if you're listening to this, check out Pocket Cast because it's great.
Cool.
You guys got anything else to end on?
I don't know. Jason's in the chat. I just want to say what up.
Yeah.
You gave me some advice before I ever got my first developer job, and it absolutely freaked me out. It terrified me.
What was the advice? Do we even want to know?
I'm like hanging out after this San Diego JS meeting, and I'm like going through my backpack, and I had actually just gotten a phone call at that meeting. One of the clients that I was working with was like, "Hey, we're not going to work with you anymore," and this was like my last little string of money that was going to pay my bills. And so I go up to Jason, and I'm like, "Hey, man, how do I like get a job? How do I know when I'm ready to start applying for jobs?" And he looks at me and he's like, well, when you can build and deploy and maintain a website, like then you're probably ready to start applying. And I'm like, okay, build, I could probably do it. Like I'd, done some stuff on my like localhost thing. And then I'm like, deploy? What does that even mean? And I'm like, okay, thanks, man. Thanks for that advice. And I like walk away and I'm like feverishly trying to figure out like, what the fuck is he even talking about? Oh man, it was a terrifying moment. But I eventually got there, and we what's the meme? What it was like and what it's like now.
How it
Wild.
started, how it's going.
Yeah.
Going
That
well.
what the
Good.
kids are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. So, Jason, I appreciate you, man.
All right, and on that note, thank you, Jason. And that's the show. So we'll catch you next time.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
I just gave a peace sign to a podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, it shows how in touch you are with technology.